Hello, WoW Krendor. What do you want to talk about today? Do you want to talk about why WoW doesn't feel as immersive anymore, Krendor? All right, let's predict what he's gonna say. The world is too big. The world is too big. That's what he's gonna say. The world is massive. Look how big it is. It's like you want a nice and small. Well, like you want like a smaller. Yeah.
Why World of Warcraft doesn't feel as immersive as it used to. And that's not to say that retail WoW isn't immersive. There's plenty of times I feel immersed in retail WoW. But there was something about classic WoW that really just, it was like the pinnacle of immersion. Like when you played the game, you felt like you were in the Barrens. You felt like you were in Fairless. You felt like you were in Tanaris, right? All these different zones. And I think there's a few things that kind of play into that classic WoW did that retail WoW doesn't do. And so I kind of want to just go over some of those things today because I wrote down a few bullet points of why I think all of this is. And so let's just jump right into it with classic WoW is that slower RPG type of game. And
so flying, pacing, and size. Those have got to be three really big ones. Flying, pacing, and size.
Hear this all the time, right? People are always like, it's a slower RPG game.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. Some people like this is boring. And then the modern game is much more like action RPG. And while I think those are kind of great to compare and contrast, I think one big factor stands with these two, and that's friction, right? And so classic WoW is all about friction.
I was thinking more about size, not friction. Like if it's too big, then like you're never really gonna run into anyone else and see anyone, but friction. Okay, I'm listening.
And slowly either removing that friction or kind of like learning to appreciate that friction in a way. While retail WoW is much more about reducing all of the friction, like just reducing as much friction as possible in various ways. So let me give you some examples, right?
True, yeah.
It's like when people bring up walking versus flying. In classic WoW, you had to walk everywhere. You know, you start out the game, you have to walk through Durotar, you have to walk through the Barrens, you have to walk through all these places, right? That's friction. It's, I want to be able to fly. I want to be able to get my mount and just, you know, move faster and not have to do this. But by being forced to do that, it actually makes you stop and kind of be aware of your surroundings, right? Like when you're walking through a zone, you go, oh, there's these mobs over there. I need to be careful of those mobs. There's a city over here. Oh, there's something over there I should go look at, right? And you're always looking around and being aware because you're just moving through the zone. Now you could just go on auto run and be like, whatever, but that's more of like once you kind of know the zone, right? But now in the game, you just get flying and you fly around and that's it, right? You just fly over stuff and you're like, oh, is that something I need to look at? I don't even know, right? And so, sure, you could fly around and stop and look at.
So like there's two things I'm thinking about already. The first is that Angelica video yesterday. She was saying that like retail is beautiful if you take the time to like slow down and look at each thing. It really is. But you're flying over it so fast that you don't even have the chance to really take it all in of like how beautiful it actually is because the pacing is so fast you don't actually see it. And then the second thing is, if you guys remember it when Midnight launched, there was this whole community of people that were doing like a no mount challenge on retail, or not even challenge, but like it was like a no mount movement on retail where they're like, you know what? Let's just not use our mounts. The leveling is fast anyway. Let's actually just take it all in. And I mean, I didn't do this, but apparently they had a pretty good time because it's like, holy crap, like you're actually just on the ground and like looking at all of these different things and it's actually really cool, right? So I feel like retail could have this if you kind of just intentionally slow down, but gamers are gamers. It's 2026. Gamers will gamify the fun out of anything. So I don't think it's on the gamer to say, okay, let's do, you know, let's not fly, right? I think it would be on the game developer to say, okay, this is maybe taking away from the experience, not adding. So anyway,
something and fly somewhere else and look at that's what I do for pointless top 10, honestly. But it does remove something, right? Like that friction has been removed, and you can kind of say the same thing for instances, right? It's why people go, oh, remember when you had to run to the instance and summon people and then go in, right? Versus just open your menu and click do dungeon, get into a queue and it pops and you're in the dungeon, right? That's friction. You're removing that element of friction which I think in return is a form of immersion.
Breaks the immersion, yeah.
And so that slow RPG feel, I think, plays into that because sure, you have that source of friction of, oh man, I have to walk everywhere, it's slow, but then you get your movement abilities and you're like, hey, this is actually pretty nice. I can move a little faster, right? I can, you know, get around and explore a little bit better. Then you get your ground mount and you're like, okay, that was pretty cool. And I saved up enough money, and it gives you this sense of progression. And I think that's one of the biggest factors. It gives you the RPG progression system of like, I was slow, now I'm less slow, now I'm getting a lot faster, and now I'm going fast because I got my epic mount, right? Or,
I mean, Classic WoW, it kind of sucks that you can't mount till 40, but you know what feels the best thing ever in Classic WoW? Getting on your mount at 40. You know, when you finally get it, or you get that epic mount, or even as a mage when you get blink, or a rogue when you get sprint, or a warrior when you get like charge and intercept. It's like any type of mobility when you're used to just like dun 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 dun. It just feels so good, but it can't feel good without then feeling bad, right? You can't have that good feeling without the friction, without that bad kind of like slow clunky feeling for a while, right? They come together. So I think he's onto something here.
I mean, you could even play into like Burning Crusade. Like you started with ground mounts and then you eventually got flying, even though it was very slow flying, right? It was all sources of friction that you remove by playing the game and just earning stuff. Now, another form of that, I would say, is the old like arrows, right? Like you had to buy your arrows. You had to buy reagents to do stuff. And while that is annoying, right? You're like, oh, I ran out of arrows, I got to go buy them. There is an element of immersion to that. Like, hey, I'm a hunter, I'm buying my arrows, I'm buying food, I'm feeding my pet, right? All these different things. And I don't think your pet should run away from not feeding it, although I get why they did it, I guess. But those little things kind of bring you into the world. It makes you feel like, again, you're role playing. You're like, I am a hunter. I have bought my ammo and I have my ammo, right? And now it's just kind of like, I'm a hunter. It's just, I'm shooting my gun. I don't have to buy arrows or bullets or whatever. And so...
Do you, for all the hunter players out there, in Classic Plus, would you guys want a quiver slot? Or are you diehard Classic Andes that are like, no, bro, I'll carry it with me in my backpack? Like, I feel like a quiver slot would make sense, right? Arrows and quivers are annoying. I feel like an extra quiver specific slot that hunters got would make sense. But wait, hold on. One's in the chat if you want the quiver. Two's if you're like, no, bro, no quiver for me. I don't need a quiver slot. I'll go OG. Okay, it's mainly ones. Okay.
Again, that's a form of friction. It's a little thing you have to do, but that little thing can add an element of immersion. Now, adding on to that, I would say that hardcore Classic WoW actually adds to that friction and immersion, right? Because now, if you mess up, you have to start all over again. So you're trying to make these potions, like you're getting potions to buff your stuff up. You're trying to increase your stats. You're making sure that everything is correct, and you're going to be as strong as possible when you go out into the world so that you don't die, because the ultimate level of friction is you die and you start over and you're like, oh my god, this is terrible, right? And so
I mean, I think that's why hardcore brought WoW back for so many of us, is because you went slow enough to actually get immersed again. Whereas in 2019, and I don't want to speak for everyone here, but for me in 2019, it was more about how fast can I hit 60? How fast can I ruin the experience for myself? How many times can I run the same dungeon to increase my experience per hour? And in 2019, when Classic relaunched, I wasn't immersed at all. I just min-maxed the fun out of the game for myself, and it's like, all right. I mean, it was still fun, I guess. I mean, I had a lot of fun in 2019 too, but with hardcore, it's like it was the first time I actually got immersed again since I was a kid. You know, it's like I had to go so slow to not die, and I did die a lot, so it's like cool.
That becomes very immersive because now you're just like, it's essentially real life in the game. And I think that's one of the reasons the Classic WoW is also so much fun, is you're hitting like max levels of friction at that point, because you know, if you die, you start over. And then in retail WoW, or even just normal Classic WoW or whatever, if you die, you just respawn and there's no friction there. You're like, whatever, I just keep going. Now that brings me to my next point, which is the musical immersion. And the musical immersion is one of my favorite parts of playing WoW, like when you play classic WoW and you hear that ambient music wherever you are, like in the Barrens or in a forest, wherever it might be, it really hits. Like it makes you feel like you're in that zone, you're a part of the game.
In the background, yeah.
Sometimes it gives you that feeling of you're not even listening to music. It's almost like you're just there, and the music belongs there. And I think that
I will say that Retail has had some pretty banger songs. And non-classic has like Grizzly Hills, I'm thinking of, right? Like when you go TBC, Wrath, Kata, Mop. I mean, a lot of it is maybe nostalgia. Like I love the classic music, man, like running in a Stormwind or something, or like, yeah, just starting a new character in Elwyn. Like it's just so nice. But at the same time, I'm not going to say that Retail doesn't have some bangers too. I will give, it's maybe not my cup of tea on a lot of the macro stuff, but with the music, and some of like the landscapes and the sunsets and some of the art like in the game is like awesome. I have my other things that we talk about a lot, but it's pretty good.
It's something that's like really powerful because I always have the music on when I'm playing just really any video game, but especially WoW. And that's not to say Retail doesn't have that, because there's actually a lot of times in Retail WoW I've felt very immersed from the music, like the Undermine, honestly, places like Zuldazar, Drustvar, even like the Isle of Dorn had some really good music at times. Like there's a lot of good music in Retail WoW that is immersive, but I think classic World of Warcraft just had, it was like the perfect amount, and it was like every zone just felt perfect. Like I think that's like, to me, classic World of Warcraft music is almost like the pinnacle of video game music. Like it's just phenomenal. And so
how much of this, because like I agree with him, but like how much of this is because, I mean, I'm assuming Krendor grew up playing WoW. I grew up playing WoW. How much of this is just because we grew up playing WoW? Like you hear it and it's just like, you can't even help the nostalgia bias. It's like, you can't even help. It's like, dude, I listened to this a million times as a kid and it's just bringing me back, It's like it's just like, oh, you can't even help it. It's just like, Oh, Grays with the raid. Guys, Grays, I'm thinking about the Doom Howl hardcore character Nax experience. I talked to Ampy. Ampy's still down, so we have to mentally kind of figure that out. Should try to figure out how that would happen, but it's up here right now, okay?
I think that is also another element of why it felt so immersive. And speaking of zones, that actually brings me to my next point, which is sometimes in Retail WoW, going to zones can pull you out of that immersion because you get kind of warped back to periods that have already happened. And so let's say I'm going to Booty Bay as a great example, right? And I see the goblins just repairing Booty Bay, and I'm like, man, it's been like, what, 16, 17 years of the goblins repairing Booty Bay? And sure, you could make the argument like they're like actual construction, they're taking forever to get it done. But there is something to that, to where you see a lot of these old things. For example, like Stone Talon Mountains. When you go there, there's like the big war going on with Garrosh and the Alliance and stuff, and you're like, this already happened. And so obviously the logistical real life part of you kicks in. It's like, yeah, this is an older expansion, right? Like they're gonna update it eventually, hopefully. And it's, it's just part of it. But that's still something that takes you out of the game, right? Like you have to get out of the game mindset to realize that and be like, this is just an old expansion. Because if you're playing in the game, you're just like, this is weird. Like, what's going on? This happened 15 years ago. Why is this still occurring in this zone, right? And Classic WoW doesn't have that because it's just all static. Like it's Classic WoW. The zones are the way they are.
This actually brings up a good point. In Classic Plus, say it goes for a long time, would they then update some of these zones to make it look like they've been updated? Oh, thanks, babe. We got our factor meals here for lunch. Because if you're playing Classic and there's no updates, obviously things like Booty Bay would never get repaired, or Stone Talon. But if there is updates, would you expect those to eventually get repaired? But if you did repair them, then it technically would never be Classic again. I never thought about that. Because if they change the world, it could be like a Cataclysm scenario where they change the world and it's worse, and that sucks, right? It's like, don't touch that. Like,
pull you out of a zone when you go there and everything's just kind of outdated and things have already been completed, and you're just like, yeah, I don't know. That's the way it is, right? And now, having said that, retail does do a lot of stuff well, right? Like raiding and Mythic Plus and collecting pets and mounts and transmogs and all that stuff, right? I love doing all that stuff. I think it's fun. Well, actually, I don't really like Mythic Plus. It's not my thing. I'm bad at the game. But sometimes it almost feels like there's too much to do, and that can kind of take you out of it. For an example, when I logged in for this past patch, I got to the new zone with all the mushrooms all over and stuff, and I was like, this is pretty cool, right? And I was going through, and I got it all done, and I was like, well, that's that. And it didn't really feel like I immersed myself in this new patch zone. It didn't really feel like I was like, whoa, I'm in the game right now and I'm loving the aesthetic. Like, I thought the zone was cool. I thought it looked great, but I didn't feel immersed in the zone. And I realized that part of that is due to the way the game is currently structured. So we have things like weeklies, we have dailies, we have all these different currencies. And so when I wanted to go do the new zone, I was like, all right, where do I go? And there's like a billion quests all over because I didn't do much of the last patch. And I was like, okay, here's a quest, but is this quest for the new patch or is this for the old patch? Then people in chat were like, Crendor, what are you talking about? It's from the previous patch and like this, but I'm like, I play this game and I'm confused.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Like, imagine a new player going here trying to be like, hey, a new patch, and there's like stuff all over the place. Like it pulls you out. Again, like I'm talking about immersion here, and from a immersive standpoint, being in the game, trying to like figure out which quest is which, and like dailies and weeklies and stuff, and I'm like what am I even doing here?
I play a lot of WoW, and for me, this moment was in retail when I tried to figure out how to craft an item using the crafting table, where you have to like hire someone else to make an item for you, but you have to get all the right quality of materials, but it can't be, you have to find someone specifically from trade chat to do it because it has to be RNG and a certain quality or else it's not going to be high enough. And then you have to, oh my, dude, that was the one thing that I was just like, what? Like once I figured it out, I mean, to be honest, even when I figured out, it was still kind of confusing. That was tough. That was tough.
Like, why is this happening? And it's just, it's almost overwhelming. And it feels like when I do that type of stuff, I'm doing chores rather than immersing myself in the game and just like experiencing the game. And I think that's my biggest issue with modern WoW is when I log in, it's like I have to pull up my chore list and like check stuff off. Like, did I do my weekly? Did I do my daily? Did I do my dungeon? Did I do it right? And you're going down the list and you're just checking. And sure.
I mean, the difference is like in classic WoW, you can still make an argument to say that you do that. At level 60, did I get my Songflower? Did I get my DMF? Did I get my DMT, right? Did I farm enough gold to buy my potions, right? Like you have this weekly checklist. The difference is in classic WoW, it just takes so long to get there. And most players will end up getting there and then quitting and then saying, wow, that was fun. Or getting there and then doing that for a while, then quitting and think, wow, that was fun. The difference is in retail is you hit max level so quick and it becomes chore simulator basically right away. Like say you start playing retail right now, you hit max level in say a week or whatever. And then you're max level and it becomes a chore simulator for the rest of time until the next expansion. Whereas in classic WoW, you might have this leveling journey that lasts like month or 2 or 3. And then like when you're finally max level, the pre-bis grind just takes so long to get to raid log phase where you have a chore list. Like most people maybe even never even get there. Or if you do get there, you have fun doing it for a little bit before wanting to not play anymore. So it's like, it's just the timeline is stretched, right?
You can kind of do that in classic WoW. Like you can make a checklist for yourself of like, here's the things I have to do, but it's not the game kind of telling you what to do. And so when you do that, I think the immersive part of just going into the world and being like, what am I going to do in this world, right? Like you're just a part of it. One of the things I love about classic WoW is you're just another adventurer out in the world and you're going on the hero's journey and you're just trying to make it in the world, right? Like you start out, you're just some person and then you play through the world, you go through the world and you kind of earn your stripes and you earn your title. And it's like, hey, you know what? Now you are like a pretty important part of this world. Now you are becoming a hero. And I think the weird part about retail WoW that kind of pulls me out of that immersion aspect is they're like, it's you, champion, the chosen one. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I've been playing for like 20 years, right? It's like, all right, yeah. But then somebody that's been playing for like 5 years also gets the same treatment.
Yeah,
Somebody that's been playing for like 3 months can also be at the same tier of you. And they're just like, you're the chosen one, man. Like, you're gonna save the world and help Azeroth and all this stuff. And then you're like, okay. And then you talk to your friend, and your friend's like, no, wait, I'm the chosen one. I'm gonna save Azeroth.
So I've thought a lot about this exact thing because we played RuneScape last year, and in RuneScape, it's the opposite, right? If you've been playing for 10 years on an account, you're gonna be so far ahead of anyone else. So say your friend makes a new character and they want to play with you on RuneScape, and then it's an Iron Man account or something. Like, they're gonna be like literally years behind you to catch up. Which can be negative in a sense of like, well, it's harder to maybe connect with friends and play with them if you want to bring them into the hard content that you're doing. It might be literally years before you can do that. But the positive of that is like, I spent years getting here, and it means something. Not a new player can't just be on that same level right away. World of Warcraft retail is the opposite. A new expansion comes out, and you could bring your friend in and play with them on the new content that next week or 2 weeks or whatever, right away. Now, the upside is, hey, you can bring in friends and play, right? That is a very big upside, let's be honest. Like, you can bring your friends in from work or whatever and be like, all right, cool, we all hit the raid together on this new patch. Awesome. The downside is that it kind of just breaks the importance of anything, because it's like, oh, okay, well, next patch, let's wait for next patch then, because we're all just going to get reset back to the same gear score. I'll just wait for the next expansion, actually, because that's coming out soon. So it kind of just makes the game feel watered down. But it is good in the sense that you can play with other people. Personally, I kind of like the way RuneScape has done it, right? That classic way of like, you put in years, you're going to be years ahead of other people. But it is very gatekeepy in the sense, like, I will be honest, it's very gatekeepy at the point where like new players, it's kind of hard to get into it. Because it's like, okay, well, you're just going to be years behind other people then.
Some other guy's like, wait, you two aren't... I'm the hero. I'm going to save Azeroth. And so it just becomes like that. It almost feels like the gear argument, where if everybody's a hero, then like nobody's a hero. Or if everybody's like a chosen champion hero, I guess I should say, because like everybody's a hero technically. It's kind of like the epics, right? If everybody has epic gear, it's not epic anymore. It's just common. Like, if everybody has the same gear, it's just common gear. It's just, they painted it purple and go like, yeah, that's epic. And I think a lot of the lore that ties into the world-ending threats every expansion plays into that. Like, we need the ultimate hero champion to save the world, right? And it almost like amplifies that need of you wanting to be this big hero. And like, to me personally, it just becomes this thing of, I don't want to be the most important person in all of Azeroth or the hero of the world. Like, I just want to be somebody that's a part of the world. And that doesn't mean I have to be a blacksmith or whatever, but you know, like some little guy living in a house somewhere. But like, I want to just be part of the world.
I wonder if I wonder if Krendor watched Jibei, because Jibei released a video like 2 weeks ago talking about this same thing. This was from 6 days ago. Very, very, very similar topic that Jibei touched on. Of like, wait a minute, what's going on here? He kind of like compared retail and classic a little bit.
In some way that isn't the most important person in the world. And I think that's just a much more immersive experience. And there might be other people that like being the champion of Azeroth. That's fine. And it's kind of hard to even dodge that at this point, because we have killed Titans. We've killed Arthas. We've killed like Illidan. We've killed all these heroes and everything. So we technically are like these insane champions, but I just hope they figure out a way to just knock it down a few pegs. You know what I mean? Because I'm just... it really does pull you out of it. When everybody else is also a hero and you're like, I'm the hero, and it's just, yeah, like I said, if everyone's the hero, nobody's the hero. Now, with all that being said, I kind of want to wrap this up with one of my favorite parts of retail WoW in terms of immersion, and that's a lot of the community events or holiday stuff, because much like the soup event with the Tuskar, it's not the most important event. It's nothing crazy, right? You're just helping a Tuskar chef make soup, but it was one of my favorite parts of Dragonflight. Like, you just show up at the Tuskar area and they're just like, hey, come on down, we're making a big pot of soup, and they're just stirring it up and everyone's contributing and gathering stuff, and you see everybody else like contributing. You're like, dude, this is so fun, right? Like, everyone's working together, and it creates that sense of like immersion in the world and community, and you're all helping the Tuskar make this soup, and they're just like, hey, everybody come eat it, right? Those are some of my favorite events, like even helping the ancients in the Emerald Dream. I enjoyed doing that, and I'm sure there's people that didn't enjoy doing it, but like those were some of my favorite events. And so it's one of the reasons I love holidays, where you have things like Brewfest and everybody's gathered around at the festival and everyone's, you know, drinking and running around, and it's like more music that immerses you in, right? And so I really love those types of things because it makes it feel like the world is alive. It makes it feel like everybody's out and about, they're doing their thing, and, you know, it's nothing groundbreaking. We're not saving the world, but we're just living in the world of Warcraft. And so it actually gets really depressing or kind of sad or eerie to me even when I go to something like Brewfest and it's like an empty server, or just nobody's there. Like, maybe it's towards the end of Brewfest, people have already gotten all their stuff, and you're just like walking around, it's just empty. And I'm just kind of like, I guess I'll get a beer or do my ram racing. It's just you walking around alone. Maybe one person like runs by and it's just like, and you're just like, dude. Okay, like that's another thing that just pulls.
I think with retail, you need a reason for everyone to kind of like come together. So like, I agree. The events that do that are awesome. I remember that classic event that happened like was it like a year ago? Maybe 2 years ago now? For the 20th WoW anniversary, there was like the classic WoW event on retail, and there was so many people there doing their thing. It was awesome, right? But a lot of the times in retail, if you're like, I'd say the worst part is if you're leveling a new character in retail, you don't really see anyone past like that starting area. You'll see a few people, and then like 15 minutes in, you'll get phased and you won't see anyone. Like that kills me. But I guess like the end cities in retail are populated, quite populated. And then a lot of like the popular dungeons, there's people outside, and like the new areas, there's people outside, and the events, there's people outside. But like the leveling in the old areas, I mean, it's impossible because the world is so big. You can't have everything populated, but yeah.
Me out of the immersion because I'm like, where are the people at? Like, is the game dying? Like, that really does pull me out. So I think the main point I'm trying to get at here with everything that I've gotten at is there's a lot of different things that make up immersion, and some of them impact the game, I'd say, more than others, and some of them maybe even impact certain people more than others, right? Like, some people might feel very immersed when they're doing all these like RPG elements, like buying arrows or doing these things, and other people might not feel immersed at all. I'd say it's also a very subjective type of thing to, you know, deal with. Like, different people are going to have different things that immerse them into a world, but at the end of the day, I think most people want to be immersed in the world, and most people want to live in the world and feel like they're a part of this world, and it really can pull you out of it when so many of these little things add up, and it hits a point where you're just like, why am I not feeling that sense of immersion? And I think all of these little things going one way or the other way, right, making you feel immersed or not feel immersed, really do add up and change how you feel. And so yeah, I just want to make that video and rant about immersion because it's been a topic that's just been on my head for a while. So thanks for watching. If you want more videos, I just made a pointless top 10 burning buildings in WoW. If you want to see that one, celebrate the Midsummer Fire Festival. Or I did a dumb tier list ranking a bunch of different best and worst WoW class ideas, even though I doubt any of them will come to fruition. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Dude, Krendor has sick videos, pointless top 10s. I love it. This video went in a different direction than I thought. For me, I feel like I thought he was going to more talk about flying, which he didn't really talk about. Transmog, which he didn't really talk about. Layering, phasing, right? He didn't really talk about that. Like, these are some of the big points for me. When you're next to someone, you get layered away. When someone flies above you, when someone's transmogged to look like they're in their pajamas, it's like all of these break the immersion, you know? And then what was the other one that we talked about? Like pacing, right? When you're going too fast, like these are probably like very massive, very, very, very massive in terms of breaking the feeling of like, I am just in this game right now, you know? Solid video there from Krendor. Give that one a thumbs up.